Scopolamine. Imagine a terrifying scenario. You're walking safely down the street when someone suddenly blows a fine puff of white powder into your face. Within moments, you remain standing, eyes open, talking to people in what seems like a perfectly normal manner. But in reality, you have completely lost control over your will and your decisions. This is the horror behind the drug scopolamine, also known as devil's breath. In Colombia, criminals extract this substance from the borrachero tree to turn their victims into obedient, order-following beings with no resistance. Under its influence, a victim might walk into a bank on their own, withdraw their savings, and hand them over to the thief. Or open the door to their own home and help carry out their belongings without showing the slightest suspicion. The substance blocks acetylcholine receptors in the brain, which are responsible for memory formation and the ability to think critically or refuse. The most terrifying effect is that the victim wakes up hours later with their memory completely wiped, with no trace of what happened. Although it is used pharmaceutically in microscopic doses against seasickness and nausea, increasing the dose turns it from a treatment into a sheer nightmare. Crocodile. At the start of this century, Russia saw a sharp rise in heroin prices, pushing groups of addicts to concoct a cheap, highly toxic alternative. They cooked up a destructive chemical mixture made from codeine pills, gasoline, paint thinner, hydrochloric acid, and red phosphorus scraped off matchboxes. The result is a compound called desomorphine, known worldwide as crocodile or the crocodile. The name comes from the catastrophic change that occurs to the skin. It becomes rough and scaly before the muscle and skin tissue begins to rot and die, starting from the injection site, until bones are exposed and gangrene spreads through the body due to toxic deposits that destroy the blood vessel network. Its effect lasts only about 90 minutes, forcing the user to inject repeatedly throughout the day, accelerating the internal decay until the life expectancy of a habitual user drops to between 1 and 2 years at most. By 2011, the number of users in Russia had exceeded 100,000 people. Bromo dragonfly. While most hallucinogens wear off within hours, the drug Bromo dragonfly plunges its user into a hellish hallucinatory journey lasting 72 continuous hours, 3 full days without the ability to sleep or stop the mental spiral. It gets its name because its chemical molecular structure resembles the shape of a dragonfly under a microscope. Its extreme danger lies in the fact that doses are measured in micrograms, making the line between a hallucinogenic dose and a lethal poisoning extremely thin. Any slight measurement error means death. Even more dangerous is that it causes a sudden, severe constriction of blood vessels, cutting off blood flow to the extremities, which in documented cases has led to the complete necrosis and amputation of fingers. Because there is no specific antidote for it, doctors face extreme difficulty saving those affected. It appeared in European markets in the mid-2000s, where it was deceptively marketed as LSD. Flakka. By 2014, the state of Florida was swept by a wave of bizarre incidents attributed to the drug Flakka, scientifically known as alpha-PVP. The substance belongs to the synthetic stimulant class that floods the brain with massive amounts of dopamine and norepinephrine, triggering a state known as excited delirium. The user's body temperature rises past 40 degrees Celsius, and they experience acute psychosis and paranoid hallucinations that can make them run naked through the streets or storm into police stations. The substance doesn't grant superhuman muscles. Rather, it blocks the brain from sending the pain and protective signals that normally limit maximum muscular force in the human body, making the person resist police and break restraints without feeling pain, until they collapse physically from sudden cardiac arrest or acute hyperthermia. It became known as the $5 madness due to its cheap price and rapid spread. Datura plant experts and those who have tried it agree unanimously in warning against underestimating the wild Datura plant. This plant contains powerful compounds such as scopolamine and tropane, but it doesn't produce colorful visual hallucinations that the person understands to be illusions. Instead, it plunges the brain into a state of total delirium in which illusion becomes absolute reality. A user may spend hours talking to imaginary people, lighting cigarettes that don't exist, or moving through imaginary places. The effect lasts between 24 and 72 hours, accompanied by severely dilated pupils and intense dryness in the mouth and respiratory tract that makes swallowing extremely painful. The hallucinations stem from ordinary, everyday reality, such as a person imagining a family member walking into the room and talking to them, then suddenly vanishing. Etorphine and carfentanil. The drug etorphine was synthesized in 1963 for a specific veterinary purpose, subduing and sedating massive animals like elephants and rhinoceroses. Its potency exceeds morphine by roughly 3,000 times, and an almost negligible fraction of a milligram is enough to stop breathing in an adult human. For this reason, veterinarians are required to wear full protective gear and carry ready-loaded syringes with the antidote at hand, because absorbing even a single drop through the skin can be fatal within minutes. The devastating danger of this class of substances became evident in 2002, when Russian forces used the derivative substance carfentanil during the Moscow theater hostage crisis to subdue the gunmen, resulting in the deaths of more than 100 hostages due to the razor-thin, nearly non-existent margin between a sedating dose and a lethal one. DIPT, auditory distortion. The substance DIPT is distinguished by its unique selective effect. While it leaves visual perception and rational thought in their normal state, it distorts the sense of hearing exclusively. The pitch of all surrounding sounds drops to deep, terrifying-sounding tones. Familiar human voices change pitch entirely, and music becomes distorted, turning into what sounds like a damaged soundtrack. The effect lasts between 8 and 12 hours, but the real danger lies in documented cases where the auditory distortion and the accompanying distressing tinnitus continued for weeks after the drug's effects had worn off. A phenomenon that puzzles scientists as to how a chemical substance can target the brain's sound processing center with such penetrating precision. The lethal substance, DNP. DNP was originally used as an industrial compound in explosives manufacturing during World War I, before workers were noticed to be experiencing rapid weight loss and elevated body temperature. In the 1930s, certain parties marketed it as a miracle weight loss pill. The substance's mechanism works by disrupting the cell's energy production, ATP, forcing the body to convert nearly all caloric intake into wasted heat. The result is a dramatically accelerated metabolic burn, but internal body temperature rises uncontrollably, reaching up to 42 degrees Celsius, effectively cooking the internal organs and causing them to fail one after another, with external cooling attempts like ice baths proving futile. The Jenkem phenomenon. The Jenkem phenomenon arose from a tragic social reality documented by humanitarian organizations in the 1990s among street children in Zambia. Children would collect human waste and urine in tightly sealed plastic bottles and leave them to ferment under the sun, then inhale the rising gases, such as methane and hydrogen sulfide, in pursuit of a temporary state of dizziness and hallucination. Despite the media frenzy and the fabricated rumors that spread in 2007 about it supposedly reaching Western schools, the original practice remained confined as a phenomenon of desperation among the most marginalized groups. Nutmeg poisoning. Nutmeg is a common culinary ingredient, yet consuming it in excessive doses, the equivalent of 2 to 3 whole nutmegs or 15 to 25 grams, turns it into a dangerous hallucinogenic poison due to the compound myristicin. The real trap lies in the delayed onset of symptoms, which can take up to 6 hours to appear, tempting the user to increase the dose, believing it isn't working, after which the symptoms hit all at once: severe nausea, intense dehydration, rapid heartbeat, and anxious delirium that can last for several extended days. These substances stand as a testament to the fact that the line between a healing medicine and a fatal catastrophe may amount to no more than a few micrograms, or a misused chemical reaction. Arming oneself with real awareness and knowledge of these dangers is the strongest barrier protecting individuals from being led astray by blind curiosity and misleading rumors.